Hello, hello, hello. Welcome for another episode of Market Leader Live. Hey, it's your host with the most, your main man, Darren and Palmer. Excited to be with you again, where I get the privilege and the honor to interview those who are definitely making a difference and changing the world by being market leaders. So today we have on the show today, my girl or whatnot, killing it on a major way. I was telling this off air in the green room or whatnot, Karen D. Amat. She is killing it, doing her thing. I'm just going to share a little bit about Karen. If you don't mind, Karen, before you say hello to the people, her professional career began on the cusp of social media emergence. As a working professional in marketing, she built a social media presence and developed her personal brand. Karen's solo-preneur to entrepreneur journey as CEO of Social Behavior started in 2014 with a grassroots-like approach of serving a handful of customers in a home-based office. Satisfied customers in high demand yielded the opportunity for growth and developing marketing category. So I just shared a little bit about Karen's bio, whatnot, but say hello, everyone, to everyone, Karen, and welcome to the Market Leader Live.
And I'm excited to be here with you all today.
Awesome. We're glad to have you. So, Karen, I just shared a little bit about your story, but for those who are looking at being market leaders or whatnot, I think just in the bio alone, what I was able to take away from it was the grassroots initiative, for you being able to take what you have and actually use that and being able to scale and take it to another level. So, if you don't mind, let's start with that, because some of the people who are listening to this, some never start, but they got a great idea. As we say in Texas, is not proper English, even though I run a publishing company. I'm finna do something. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
But could you share what was your mindset to start where you were instead of allowing for fear to get in the way and say, I'm not a major corporation yet, and I don't have this square footage downtown Houston. Take us back to the early stage of what you're doing.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for the introduction. I'm excited to be here and tell you about my journey. I can definitely elaborate on that. Like my bio mentioned, when I started my social media agency, I was servicing clients out of my home-based office. And now fast forward to 6 years later, we actually employ 9 people. We work with clients from all over the country, and the growth over the last year has been astronomical. I think that as business owners and entrepreneurs, you're right. We say we're fixing to, then we put the plan in motion, we get in the race. And then what people don't tell you is that you're going to hit thousands of walls. Every single day I encounter a problem, and I've been doing this for 6 years successfully. But if I let a problem get in my way every day, then I wouldn't be here where I am. Sometimes I have enormous problems and sometimes I have little itty bitty issues. Just today, I had a product photo shoot at one of our local clients and the product wasn't there. So we had to maneuver some things around to get things where they needed to be. And that's just the problem that I'm dealing with today at this moment. That was solved. But over the last 6 years, daily, the rent is due every day. So that's how you become a leader in your field.
Awesome. I thank you for sharing that, Karen, because I think that's important for those who are listening to understand that it doesn't get easier. The thing is you get better. And so, but if you never actually start, you don't see how you can get better or whatnot, because you're always waiting to be able to have everything answered. And that's the thing. You got to take calculated risk. I'm not saying that you need to go blind, but at the same, blindfolded and do it. But at the same time, take calculated risk. So when we look at that and how you were able to make those moves, let's go into you understanding the importance of scaling or whatnot. So I know it's very important for us having relationships. As one wise man once shared with me, the difference between contacts and contracts is the letter R, and that's for relationships. So I know you've been able to do a great job. You know what I'm saying? So take us into the relationship portion of your business, how you've been able to grow as far as creating long in relationships.
That is a word. And I think that I wouldn't be here where I am today without those relationships. The same seeds that I planted 6 years ago and even 10 years ago are barely being harvested, being cultivated today. And the reason for that is because relationships, it's not about a benefit, it's about how you can help one another. And the relationships that I established early on in my career as a marketing professional are just now coming to fruition 6 to 10 years later. So let me just go back a little bit and tell you that my first job was actually as a luxury lifestyle sales. So I sold private memberships to private clubs. And I did this because I posted on Facebook and LinkedIn. This is 10 years ago, before Instagram. And I created a LinkedIn account and I started posting my lifestyle and what I was doing and started to kind of position it in a very attractive manner, not where I was selling things. No one on my LinkedIn was looking at it and being like, oh, she's trying to sell me something. They were saying, I want to know what she's doing and I want what she's got. And because of that, it prompted a conversation. It opened up the communication channels and it led to me having thousands of followers on LinkedIn and Facebook before Instagram. So with that being said, I went on to sell over $2 million of this product, and I thought it was all and done. I started social behavior and I started doing my little social media agency, working from home, managing a handful of accounts. And come to find out, everyone that I had done business with all those years started reaching out and saying, I see what you're doing now. I want that too, because that relationship, that bond was already formed. And those people that I did business with then are the ones that I do business with now.
Come on now. When I hear this, I mean, that's that good stuff. That's like Campbell's soup, girl. That's good. And for those who are, come on now, those who are listening to this, you got to keep this in mind. I know it's attractive. I know you're hearing all the information out there about you're one funnel away. And this, I'm not saying not to use tools and the whole nine, I believe in that, but it's not just about YouTube or Facebook ads alone. You teach people how to treat you. So if you cultivate those relationships and you come from a place of serving first and adding value to people, it's not just cliche. It's not Darren and Karen coming here with you with the woo-woo or whatnot to make you think that you don't have to, put in work. It is putting in work. But when you do things that are, as one of my core values at the company, where you create win-wins, where you add value for people, now you have what Karen has with her company is being able to be recession proof. And why? Because she didn't have to knock on doors for people to show up. Because of the value she had added beforehand, even though it seemed like it was the polar opposite, people were finding ways to do business with her because she added value in the infancy stages. So I want some of you out there who are thinking, or you're at these networking events, or you're connecting with people online, and you slide immediately into the DM or on the LinkedIn page telling about how someone can buy your services and all what you do, how it's a turnoff. So I want you to take this, what Karen is sharing with us, on the benefit of adding value and cultivating those relationships. Now, Karen, I know you brought up that people reached out to you, but I also want you to share as well, besides relationships. It's one thing to be good at something. It's one thing to be a technician, but you have taken it to another level with actually being a business owner. I caught that in the bio, that solopreneur or whatnot to being an entrepreneur, that real journey. So it's one thing if you can do something, Karen, but when you're working with other people and leading them to be able to do what they're supposed to do and continue to operate at a high level, that's something else. So kind of guide the audience, not kind of, but guide us through your process of transitioning from solopreneur to being
of course.
Yeah,
of course, mind. I'd be happy to elaborate on that. And let me just know whenever you're ready for me to. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Start telling you. Okay, cool. Okay, I didn't know if you can hear me.
Yeah.
So this is very interesting. This was a really interesting part of my journey. It happened about 2 years ago. I'd kind of reached the maximum threshold of accounts that I could have by myself. And I was starting to work with contractors, but that wasn't sustainable. That wasn't a sustainable way for them to get paid. And sometimes we had gigs and sometimes we didn't. their compensation and their pay was unstable, and I knew that I needed to get employees in this team, but I didn't have the financial resources. So I started knocking on doors to banks, got my credit improved, and I could just kept getting shut down and shut down. But I was really praying for it, really speaking it into existence. And lo and behold, one of my former clients from my past marketing life knocked on my door and said, I want to invest in you. Because Tony Robbins says the only way to create more wealth and more abundance is to help others. And he literally knocked on my door and said, we need to meet tomorrow. And he is a serial entrepreneur that invests in business opportunities like me. And we were able to take my business from just barely breaking $100,000 a year in sales and have quadrupled and we're even growing astronomically month by month even now, and scaled it from a one-man operation to a 9-person team. But I do want to go back to something. The hardest part about this journey has been managing employees, managing expectations, creating that balance between that employee to employee relationship. Because as a person, I'm very friendly. I love everybody, but you can't love your employees like that all the time, because there's still that balance that needs to be, that's set. And that's been part of probably the most difficult part of this journey, is just managing the employees and managing the teams. But it's all a lesson. I'm growing, and I hope that I can be the best leader that they hoped for as an employee, and I hope that they can be the best employee for me and for this agency, because I will take care of them and we will grow together.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And I appreciate you being vulnerable there, because like you said, being a people's person, sometimes that can work because, some don't know the limitations. You give them an inch, they take a mile. And it's the difference between us just having a girls' night out, a guys' night out, and we chilling with each other compared to when it's business. Because if you got a weak link and we're not handling business, but at the same time, you want everything, the check to be written, or you want money to deposit in your account. If we're not taking care of our fiduciary responsibilities, then, hey, something is going to give. So, at the end of the day, this is professional. We all have responsibilities. It's a team effort. And like you said, and just because I smile all the time, or just because I love you or I'm praying for you, or whatever the situation may be, we still have a responsibility. We still have a job to do. And those are some things that you want to understand. Because like you say, you can tell Karen is cool. She's friendly. And if you're not careful, some people, just by their nature, they like to try to run over people. So the meekness is not weakness. And I want those into this as business owners to hear that. You do have to set up. Yes, I'm talking about the B word. Now, Darren is not cursing on air. But at the same time, you got to create boundaries. You got to create boundaries if you're going to be a market leader or whatnot, and allow for people and have those tough conversations like, hey, this culture is a culture that's going to be productive. It's going to be positive, and we're not going to have things that are going to cause the culture to go down with us worrying about and doing things that doesn't even matter. We need to stay focused on what counts or whatnot, instead of just friendship. Just because we go fishing with each other, just because we might go buy heels together, depending. Y'all didn't know I got those heels. Now I'm just kidding with y'all. But at the same time, regardless of what the situation may be, there has to be boundaries. So either party, you as the business owner or them,
100%. Yeah. Because the expectations that our clients set for us have to be met. And I'm the one that has full ownership of that, right? So I'm just manning the team and making sure that we as a team can provide what I've offered my client. But at the end of the day, guess who's the one that has to answer to it? And to just kind of reiterate that, like last night we were out at a social event and we were all hanging out together. And this morning we're back in the office and we have to, the same level of work that was expected before we hung out last night is expected today. And nothing changes. So just kind of even learning how to create that balance with the team was a learning experience for me.
That's good. That's good. Now, as we move forward with this, I know I can hear you, that personal development is very important to you, because I can pick up on the language, as the great quote from the great philosopher Jay-Z says, real recognize real and you're looking familiar, girl. So when I'm hearing you use the language about you're praying, you're speaking into existence, you're stepping out on faith, faith without works is dead. I can tell that you were doing that when you was knocking on those doors to look at the loan, able to continue. I love this about Bishop Hilliard, and your day of contradiction don't change your confession. So when you was in the day of contradiction, when you looking at growing, when you were getting the door slammed in your face, so to speak, or you was getting told the no's, you continue to persevere or whatnot. And look, you attracted the right opportunity to you by not giving up. So many never got started. They wouldn't have been able to have the moment that Karen did, or as my good friend out of Starbucks had, because he was denied so many times when he was looking at getting a loan to start Starbucks. So I want to go back to that. Share with us how important your personal development has been for you to have the right mindset and the fortitude to be a market leader. And also share with us a little bit of your miracle morning, or what are some things that you implement in your life that allow for you to be in the right headspace, spiritually, mentally, and physically, to be able to do the type of work that you do.
Absolutely. So since the beginning, starting this journey, it has been a walk in faith. So 6 years ago, when I started this business, I'd actually had my first failed startup. And I started a business in South Florida that I thought was going to be my $1 million baby. And it actually ended up with me becoming financially, spiritually, and emotionally bankrupt, to the point that I lost everything I had. And so I came back in my 30s to live with my mom, and I'd never lived with my mom since I was 18. I've always been self-sufficient. I put myself through college and all that stuff, but I lost everything. So I went to live with my mom, and I started social behavior in her little closet. When I told her people are going to pay me to manage their social media, she looked at me and she said, "You are crazy. Nobody's going to pay for that." And of course, it's laughable, but it really hurt. It was like a dagger. And I really made a commitment that, with God, I was like, God, I'm not doing this unless it's for me. And I don't want to take any more steps into this project. I don't want to do anything else unless you say this is for me, and I'm just working for you. So I aligned this business with my faith from day one. And honestly, even though I stress about things that are beyond my control, my faith just pulls me back and says, what are you worried about? Like, God brought you this far. You're 6 years in. You're like, you have this business like locked in, but I still worry like it's my day one, because that's my human fear. But I have to let my faith, kind of guide me in this a lot day by day. And I just trusted that this was going to be a faith-aligned business from day one. And I don't go around preaching, to my employees and stuff like that. I'm not that type of Christian, but I do let them know that God is the foundation for this business. So I think it keeps us, going. And I do want to show you, I got this tattooed on me for my mom. It says, "Just watch," because she didn't believe me. And so she always says, I was wrong. And now she wants to get it tattooed on her too.
That's funny. And I'm glad that you brought that out, even though we were sharing about the personal development. Of course, your faith is a crucial area, a critical area of that as well. But I'm glad that you were open to us or whatnot, as far as those closest to you, like your mom. And so we don't want to downplay that moment, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into that, because there's some who are listening, and I've heard it emailed. It's not just on our platform, but for others that we know as well. You're thinking to yourself, it hurts, just like what Karen shared with us, because those who you love and care about the most, they can't see it. But I want to share with you today is that it wasn't meant for them to see it, because that is your vision. So when it's your vision, you have to be the one who stirred the ship or whatnot, because it's not meant. So it's no sense of us getting upset. But I love what Karen did. I did the same thing myself. I had to channel that frustration. I had to channel that pain and use that as fuel to get more with God on that, and to be able to push myself and say, okay, Darren, you're going to have to be a different version of you here, because hey, nobody's coming to save you on this thing. It's you and God, and you got to roll, and you got to be a better person than which you are. You know, whoever you are at this level, for you to go to that next level, you're going to have to step your game up, because it's a sense of desperation that I got to make this work. And I saw, Karen, where you were in that particular place, and don't feel bad as either, because my mom didn't believe it either as well. And it is real. It is real. I like
it is. Oh yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah, they believe me now.
Yeah. So now they believe it. They believe it now. But I'm bringing this up for those who are tuned in. What is it that you should be doing right now?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. What is it when you got the situation like Karen? Nobody's going to pay you for that. Are you allowing for that to keep you because your spouse has told you that? Because your mom has told you that? Because your kids or your homegirls or those who are working beside you at the local job that you own, they don't believe and can see you in that capacity? So I want to just use this moment Karen gave us those nuggets on to say, hey, let that be a catalyst for you not prepare, but prepare, get wise counsel, but also take the calculated risk and move and do what you need to do. Do you agree with that, Karen?
Oh, 100%, Darren. And I do want to tell you some self-development things if you're ready for that. I can give you those because I didn't elaborate on them, but
yeah, go ahead.
Can I share that? Okay, cool. Yeah. So once I started, I decided that I was going to do social behavior. I started laying out the dream, right? What's the vision? What's a 5-year plan? And I had that written down. Well, once I wrote it down and had a good idea of the infrastructure, I started thanking God for it. And so every morning, or it doesn't even have to be God, right? Just something greater than yourself. Just acknowledge it, accept it, say it like you already have it. So I start doing every morning, I do what's called the 5-5-5, and it's 5 minutes of prayer, 5 minutes of affirmations, and 5 minutes of worship. And so I literally live by this. And so I have it written down, all the things that I'm thankful for, and I just start going down my list. And every single year I update, or as needed, but I've been doing it every single year for the last 6 years. I thank God for what I have. And it used to sound so astronomical. The things that I used to ask for 5 years ago, I was like, man, how am I ever going to get to $20,000 a month in revenue? Like, I can't even imagine that. And now I'm like, oh no, we got bigger numbers. We got bigger dreams, and I'm just getting started. So just a couple weeks ago, I caught some backlash from a family member when I told them that I was seeking like a big casting role and I was seeking, the next big thing. And they're like, you're never going to be on TV. You're never going to get casted. And I'm like, I wish these people would stop telling me what I'm not going to do, because I'm just going to have to show them, But those are my day-to-day things that I live by. And of course, reading is a huge part of it. That's how we connected, because I love your books. I love keeping up with what you're reading. And I make it a point to read every single week, at least, a few pages off a book, a self-help book. And I know we talk about that on social media a lot.
Awesome. And you're right. I mean, you have to be, when it comes to learning, you gotta have that appetite. You gotta be ravenous, as the great Les Brown said. You gotta be hungry. That's what Les Brown would talk about. But I mean, that is so true. And one of the books, we're gonna give a shout out. I know you read let's give a shout out for our boy Patrick B. David doing his thing. Your next 5
Yes.
Yeah, so me and you were able to connect on that. And so I want to share this too as well, that leaders is readers or whatnot, readers are leaders. And you got to keep that in mind as far as growth, because to lead an organization, a nonprofit, your family, or even yourself, you have to get better. It's no such thing as purgatory when it comes to development. Either you're getting better or you're getting worse. So you have to make sure you're intentional on feeding yourself, and making sure that you're growing in the right direction. And I love those 5s that you gave us or whatnot, because you see, success leaves clues. So who are you? Who am I, for those who are listening to this, to think if all these other people, or who we're seeing having certain levels of success, they got some things that they're implementing in their daily lives. I mean, and you sitting around and just think you're gonna get up on the want-to plan, lay in bed all day eating hot Cheetos, and then think that you're gonna be in the right mind frame to be able to produce at a high level. It's slim to none that that's gonna happen.
You're not.
You're not. It's not gonna happen. So I thank you, Karen, for sharing that. Positive. Hit us with that 5 again, because I got prayer, affirmations, worship. Was there anything else that I missed?
Affirmations, worship, prayer. No.
Okay. Prayer, affirmation, worship, prayer. Okay, yeah, we got it. All right. So with that being said, I love how the ambition of going higher. And Mark Hansen, a co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, we had him on the show, and his new book is called Ask. And so it just, when I'm hearing you share the importance of what you was asking for and how crazy it sounded and how everybody think it's a joke and the whole nine, it's real, you all out there. You hearing Karen, it seems so far out for that monthly goal until you hit it. And then you have to realize another one. So I wanna go a little bit deeper into that one, Karen, because some get a little bit of success and then they stop asking. And so, but for some, understanding that it's a space of abundance out there, and so they level up on what's the next goal. So could you share with us what allows for you to continue to level up instead of just saying, oh, I can pay my bills now, I don't have to stay with my mom? So some people can quit. What allows for you to keep reaching for more?
Yeah, that's actually, something that I've had to work on over the years, because I'm not saying that I'm satisfied with the bare minimum, but it's very easy to get comfortable. And so that's something that I have to kind of regroup and always think about what's next. I don't celebrate my wins until they're locked in. And I've been so broke before that even with a little bit of richness or success, I'm like, well, I can't take it for granted. So I got to get something bigger, because this is just way too close to what I lost before. So that's always set the bar higher for me. The fact that I've kind of started from nothing, that I need to be at a level so high where it's kind of recession proof, like you said early on in our interview. That's really my goal, and that's what pushes me to just keep designing new levels. And you got to grow gradually. I hear a lot of people that have come and told me their vision, and I work with a lot of people that want the self-branding aspect, and celebrities that say, I want this, I want that. I'm like, sweetie, you just put out you just wrote your first song and put it on YouTube. You've got one video on there. You've got 1,000 followers. Don't come at me talking about you're going to win a Grammy tomorrow. That's not going to happen. So I think that the goals have to be realistic, and a lot of people, just miss that. So for me, I just go gradually. And that's why I told you I redo my goals every single year, because I just like to look at where I've been and where I'm going and just kind of follow that trend organically, and not so aggressively that it, at the end of the day, this isn't for granted, and this isn't my business, and it isn't my car, and it isn't my house. For me, it's all God's stuff. I don't care about stuff. I just care about how I make people feel, how I leave people feeling, how I can impact people, and how I can just impact lives. That's all I care about.
The thing is what Karen shared so eloquently, the key to it is wherever you have impact, the byproduct of that will be income. So if you focus on the impact first, the income will be a byproduct of income. But if you focus on just income first and not caring about how you treat people and not caring about how you leave them, if you don't leave someone better after their connection with you, then you are a liability instead of an asset. So be like Karen and choose to be an asset and focus on impact, and then that will lead to the income. So even though she's not really focusing on that, that's the key. That's the formula. I ain't gonna give y'all too much of this game today on not me and Karen. We got to class with y'all, but that's right. The truth right there. What she's sharing, and Karen, that I'm looking at what you're doing, and I want our audience to be able to benefit from your services, to be able to follow you. the whole nine. And so I don't want anyone to start throwing rotten green tomatoes at the screen or whatnot, because I didn't give you that opportunity. So please share your website for your company, how they can follow the company or you on social media. Please share whatever you have so our audience can connect with you.
Absolutely. Definitely welcome everyone to follow me. I think my number one platform would be Instagram, and you can follow my company at Social Behavior or myself at Karen Amat, and that's KarenDeamat. In addition, our website, if you want to look us up, it's socialmediahouston.com. That's the easiest web link that we have. And yeah, I would love to connect with anyone. I'm always open to just having conversation and meeting new people and making impact and continuing that journey.
Awesome. I'm loving it. Karen, I just want to say, keep doing your thing, girl. You're such an inspiration to us all. Amazing story. I'm glad that we were able to finally connect and get online with each other. But I want to close it out with those who are listening for us market leaders. It's not by accident. I didn't have people like Karen in my circle years ago. But as I continue to grow, as I continue to improve and walk in faith, I've been able to attract the right type of people in my life. So some of you who are listening say, it might be good for Karen, but I don't know where I would start. I can't even imagine. Hey, Karen had to start it from the bottom as well. But you can take some of the things that Karen has shared here today and implement in your life and see a huge return. The ROI is huge. And guess what? You didn't even have to pay to be a part of this show today or to be able to participate in this podcast. She gave us gems that can actually lead to you making an impact of millions and also generating millions of income that can change those around you. So I just want to take that moment to say, here's the individual. This is not Jennifer Lopez. This is not Oprah Winfrey. This is not Carlos Slim. This is not Warren Buffett. Nothing like that, or Tyler Perry. But she's making a difference, making her own name, being a mogul and going to even higher levels than those who I just named, because they started from somewhere. So you can start too and be a market leader as well. But Karen, thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you have any last words, Karen, before we close it out?
Thank you. And no, my recommendation to anyone would just be to be relentless. Just keep at it.
Good. There you go. And don't get it fooled. Karen's smiling. She loves the Lord. But Karen is a killer in a good way. She's going to go get it done or whatnot. You heard that, that accountability. She knows that it's on her. She takes responsibility, full responsibility for what happens in her life. And so all of us can learn from that as a market leader. Take full responsibility and you will go to the next level. Until next time, if you won't change, be the change. Be blessed and be great.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.